Okay, so I'm doing kind of a mini series here because I have seen that there are a lot of folks who are doing like questions on lead code, but generally when it comes to Google interviews specifically, then you're not allowed to use lead code, but or CodePen or any other code editing tool. But the thing that you use is to have the code and the thought process and everything onto a Google Doc. And this is why I'm starting with something simple like Quicksort. And I would be discussing more about, let's say, recursive questions or something related to, let's say, dynamic programming, or let's say linked lists, trees, prefix tree, or try, or something like that. But today let's take a look at Quicksort, and the very first thing that you are going to tell your recruiter is let's think. So basically, Quicksort is like divide and conquer. So we kind of a divide and conquer, and the thing here is, like, let's say that we have an array, so and it needs to be sorted. Let's just take any values. Yeah. So the question here is like, how do we sort it based on quicksort? So quicksort says that I will have a left and I will have a right, and if something I am taking, let's say, is would be my pivot, which is like I'm taking a pivot element. Let's just say that my pivot would be for now the last element, and if anything is and this is the logic of quicksort, if anything or any element is like smaller than my pivot, then it will go to the left array, and uh, let's just do it like this, to the left array, and I will just take some space here. Yeah. And if anything is greater than my pivot, then it will go to the right array. So like 1 4 2 come here, and we can have something like 7 8 to be here, and it will keep moving. So the thing is, now here comes the exciting part, that we would be doing is doing it recursively. So whenever it gets into a for loop to ask like which is my left and which is my right, it is just solving a part of the problem. It is not totally solving my problem, because like still, if we see it like this is still not sorted, right? We have like 4 and then we have 2, which is like not sorted. So maybe we need another kind of quick sort here as well to get my left and right, and like understand how do I do it. So this is how it will happen. It will be like quick sort of, you will do for left. I will just call it here, so left. And I think this is one of the issues also, like I'm using Google Docs. You can see that instead of code it is not like autofilling or something like that. So you may feel like this is not my environment, but this is like the kind of practice that you will have, and you would get much better and better for Google interviews specifically. So yeah, I will do a quick sort on my left. I'll just write quick s, and on my right, and I will just keep the pivot in middle. And this is like kind of the recursive case here, and maybe because this will be returning me an array, so I will be just kind of making a spread operator. And now let's think about what would be the base case, right? So arr dot length, if it comes out to be less than or equal to 1, which means like I just have one element, which could be like the only element I have, so then we could just return the arr or the array. So this is kind of the logic of quicksort. And now, once you are thorough and once your interviewer has asked you several questions about it, like how would you do it, does it also handle negative numbers, what if the array length is like just one, what, so you tell him that I have a base case for that. So just remember that the interviewer specifically at Google or many other companies are your friends, so they would just try that you get selected. They get angry if you are not able to kind of understand or do a thing, which is like not actually anger. It is more like they are trying to support you. They are trying that you bring the best in yourself and you just showcase that best version of yourself. Maybe you're not thinking enough, or maybe the answer is right in front of you. So yeah, with that, let's do one thing. Let's kind of make a function quicksort, and the quicksort will receive kind of an array. I'm just going to rename it arr because I think that was one of the question parameters only. it could be that they would want you to have a much better naming or something like that, so that's okay. Maybe it could be like quick sort some kind of candies, so we have something like candy data here. Yeah, and let's just do that. Let's just think that this is some data of multiple candies and we have this candy data. So const pivot would be ARR, or candy data would be ARR dot length, which is like the length of, and this is my last candy. So yeah, and one more thing which we can do is we know that this kind of thing does not get I would say formatted well, or we do not get those intents here. But what we can do, one thing is like I usually do this and the introvert gets happy that we use console as here, so which is like the coding font. So yeah, this looks good. And whenever I try to write some kind of let's say comment, then I use this color. So this is like a comment. And I mean these are the small things where you can just kind of make them feel happy about, yeah, we are using something, but he is like a problem solver. He sees this problem and maybe he thinks that, yeah, this could be one of the solution, that how can I find something even in this situation where the uh, let's say the code IDE is not like an IDE, so what can I do to make it look like an IDE? So yeah, and maybe I would just use it like this. So maybe I can just use arrow function. I believe there I have written arrow because I wanted to achieve this. So yeah, if my array dot length is less than, I will return the array. I will get my pivot. I will make my left, and usually the interview will tell you, don't worry if the first letter is getting capitalized, that is not an issue at all. And yeah, and maybe just leave it like that. If they tell you that this is not a problem, then this is not a problem. Yeah, don't worry about that, uh, and get a habit of that. Maybe don't write semicolons as well. If you are doing like me, I am doing it in JavaScript. Everything that I am going to showcase would be in JavaScript because I am trying to aim this for front end. Yeah, and now the part comes where you ask that if your pivot is less than, and yeah, for this part because you are going to ask if a pivot is less than the element or not. So what we are doing here is let I is equal to 0. Maybe we are making a for loop. I is less than I plus plus, and this would close. This would be like this. And the more you talk about while you are doing it, so just think loud, like what am I doing right now? I am trying that. I am not convinced that the left and right would get pushed right away because I do not know how to do that. I know that I have to pass through every element, so the solution is I would make a for loop. And yeah, just try to talk loud whatever you are doing. So now I can know the current element, and if my pivot is like greater than that element, if my right would get pushed with ARRI, and else my, because my pivot is now my pivot is bigger than my element, so my element is actually smaller. So actually this is like left because I am pushing the smaller element to the left, and right would be here, ARRI. So now at the end one can just think that because I have this, and I will just make it like this because it is a one liner, so it can just come right here. This is fine, this is fine, this is closing bracket, this is closing bracket for this. Yeah, so the next thing is now I will have my left, I will have my right. Now I am going to kind of return something like this, and it's going to return like the particular left, the pivot, and the right. Yeah, also don't worry about it if it comes like this. Yeah, that's some kind of an auto thing that happens. So now they would ask you like dry run this, or like what does it do. So you will have to tell, like, if I take these elements, if I take this as my pivot, now first time this would here be here, this uh, would be here, maybe like the other elements like 2 and 3 would also be here, and let's just say that this would get again go back to this, and this would again go back to this, so that here on the right side we would be getting 7 and 8, which will get sorted. But on the left side, because we are again recursing, so just think of recursion as like, if you're confused like what is recursion or why this is a function of a function of a function, many people get confused. Let's just drop that thinking and think that, yeah, I am calling this function, but let's just think that this is some other function that I'm calling, yeah, quicksort 2. There is another function that is doing a quicksort, I'm calling that, and I'm giving it a smaller problem, and maybe in the next one a smaller problem. Then this one is returning me the result, which is like partially sorted, and the next one is returning me the result, which is like more sorted. And this is like how my uh, stack would get a push for multiple function, and then the stack gets popped whenever I'm returning back to my base case. So this is how, like, this would get sorted into left and right, then again in left and right, and one day, finally a day will come, then each of them would be like single elements where everything would be sorted, and then it would get pop, because this is like returning the return ARR, and this would return it in the same synchronous manner, like this would be here in left and left and left. So there are like multiple returns that are just making this come back here, if that makes sense. So this is like recursion. And whenever you're confused like this is self-calling, just think of like, yeah, maybe I will just try it with 3 and just take 3 different functions, and let's just think about what the return would look like this is like a function call, right? So it is returning an array. This would someday be returning this one array, and this would just come back here, and we have this whole thing sorted. So once you are once you have done a dry run, once you have told about the edge cases, once you have thought loud, once you have cleared all cases and ask him like, what if negative numbers or what if something else, so he or the recruiter or she knows that, yeah, they understand that you have a deep knowledge or a focus to have this problem solving attitude, and you can bring out the best. So yeah, now what I'm going to do is, because I do not know if I have done it right or wrong, I'm going to ask, yeah, the favorite tool of all times, ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask it, ignore spelling, see if quicksort is right, and let's see. The quicksort is attempting is mostly correct, but there is some syntax and structure issue. Capitalization, I said that no problem in capitalization. Incorrect loop logic, I runs to arr.length, which includes the pivot element. Yeah, so this is a great thing, like it has said that this should not be including the pivot element, so -1. And I mean, this is a very small thing, maybe even the recruiter would not care about if you are this is especially in Google interview, if your thinking and logic is clear, they wouldn't care about these small things like so much. They would definitely ask you like, what would be like the O of n, we are divide and conquering, we are moving each of them and separating maybe O of 2n, and I will just check that as well. So O of 2n and things like that. Else right is missing closing parent, that's okay, these are like not issues. Use of pivot, you are right, including the right element duplicated, yeah, so it should be. And yeah, ARR -1, that was the thing. And I will just ask what is the O of 2n. Just writing this much would be fine, yeah. So yeah, so this is how we are divide and conquering, and it gives us the result. Best and average case, recurrence, worst case, we are like calculating everything. O of n squares, yeah. So the worst case is not 2n, but it is like O of n square, which is like 2 for loops, which is same like bubble sort or something like that. But I think with this, with quicksort, we usually take the average case, which is like O of n log n. So yeah, I find myself corrected here. And I remember, like now I'm remembering, which is like that dot sort of JavaScript also has this, like it uses quick sort in some context, or merge sort, which has the O n log n, and that is the reason that we use this in the first place. So yeah, you just remember your O of n complexities, like O of n square in the worst case, but in quicksort we usually see the average case O of n log n, and like how we are doing it and what's the implementation of it. And once you have done it, just remember that any algorithm is not more than 10 or 12 lines, and you can definitely do 10 or 12 lines of thinking or algorithmic knowledge in 45 minutes. So like take it that way, that if I do not get the whole thing like uh, properly correct, maybe I've done this or something like that, or some spelling mistake or some capitalization, it doesn't matter. What matters is if you have thought through it and you are clear in your head. And yeah, that is one of the many chapters regarding Google mock interviews on a Google Doc that I would be doing. And thank you so much.